was insane. I was like, I'm hearing this way too much. Let me turn this beat up right quick. Let me maximize it up. Like I'm turning this beat all the way up, bro. I'm even like on a mix up on the stage. Like I'm like, yo, like they finna get loud. Like I'm turning the chat volume all the way up. Like my team, I'm turning that beat up super. Like they get loud. I am definitely hearing no call outs. You know what I'm saying? So I turn it. That's the first time I've ever turned the team volume all the way up. I'm put white noise all the way up. But I need everything max volume.
Turned up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so it's a final question. Where does Cloud9 place here at the Esports World Cup?
No
Why?
No hezzy first.
Why?
No crowd.
You feel like I just feel like we're better.
Just better, no crowd.
better.
No crowd. I mean,
If we execute correctly, we're better.
yeah.
And if we don't, then
Hey, we saw what happened in Major Four.
1-5.
What's up, chat?
1-5, we go 5, at least we don't execute well.
Okay, all right. Well, that has been the roundtable with Cloud9. Make sure you guys tune in this weekend to watch how they are going to perform because obviously they're one of them top dogs.
Ready, set, go.
Ooh, 3
My name is
minutes.
Miles Ross. I'm here at the Esports World Cup with Scrap of Toronto Ultra, and we are playing Duo, Clutch, Choke.
Got Optic
ready?
versus
So the rules are,
Carolina
it's
first match.
3 categories: Duo, who would you rather partner up with, who's most likely to clutch when your team really needs it, and when you really don't need it, who's going to choke. You have to pick your teammates. Duo first.
My duo, okay. I'm gonna go with Toby. You know, Toby's just flying around the map with me.
Scrappy
You know,
dude.
me and him are setting base, and I love when he's by my side, just baiting for me pretty much. It's always a good time.
Oh, off my team?
Got Method streaming
I'll do
now.
Dan.
There we go, Dan's your duo. Okay.
Brack for sure. We're just the air connection, and we always clutch everything together. So, perfect.
After the offer.
Scump streaming now as well.
I don't know, he's my guy. I don't know. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Who's most likely to clutch?
most likely clutch, I'm gonna go with Insight. I mean, that guy's been the Iceman all year. When the 1v1s needed most, he's there for it. So yeah, we're gonna go with Insight.
Okay. I got this. Okay. Out of game, we'll do Nasty.
Why? Why not?
Calls our Ubers, man. You know, like he makes sure we're on practice on time.
Team dad. Everyone needs a team dad.
Exceed.
Any other reasons?
I don't know. I think he's really good in his 1v1s, and every time we've ever been in a situation where we needed a clutch, Exceed came through.
I cannot pick off anymore.
No.
I will take Kara.
Yeah? How come?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes he's being crazy, you know, like, and that's it. Yeah?
Our game as well?
I don't know. Maybe I have like some confidence for him, like in game for sure. And so that's it.
That's good. Who on the team is most likely to choke?
See, I'm gonna go with Dylan, but Dylan's definitely icy sometimes. But you know, sometimes you gotta hit that extra bullet. Might not be there, but you know, he's always a beast, and he's clutching up when he needs to.
I'm pissed. Yeah.
Who's most likely to choke when the team
Listen,
needs it?
cramp sometimes, like you just, you know, you be taking a little too long in the shower.
In the shower. Okay.
A little long in the shower. A little long.
I have no choice. I have literally no choice. I'm sorry, Paul, brother, but I have no choice.
Any reasons why, or just because he's last picked?
Because he's last, and just because he killed me every time we were nade in practice. That's for him.
Tim. But also Exceed. So it's both. It's hand in hand.
It feels like there's a lot of love across the board.
Yeah,
Everyone
there is.
can do all of these things.
There's a lot of goods and bads. I would say for all of us.
What a very honest and very real answer. Rex, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
That's pretty sick.
This is the now infamous key crusher here at the Esports World Cup. Over the past several weeks, of course, we've seen lots of keys crushed. But really what's truly at stake for all of our players are these. This week, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Of course, we've got a trophy. Of course, we've got player and regional pride. Yes, we have the $1.8 million prize pool. But what really gets shattered when teams exit this tournament are these.
Oh.
Welcome to day 2
I ain't gonna
of
do
Call
that,
of
so I'm
Duty
pretty
Modern
sure they're
Warfare
metal.
3 at the Esports World Cup.
Pretty sure they're metal. Here we go.
What's up, everybody, and happy weekend. We are live in Riyadh at the Esports World Cup. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, and we have just 3 days between now and when we crown our champions of the Esports World Cup for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Joining me A man who once wore a ponytail on the MLG main stage. He goes by the name of Clayster, one of the great ARs of the game, and of course, Nameless, my regular duo. Nameless, I want to start with you. What'd you learn on day one here in group play?
Listen, the challengers teams, we have a few that might be able to compete and make a run here. We have 3 left remaining in this tournament. You saw the buzz on social media. They said they should be in the league, and they will showcase it here.
Clay, as soon as you cut the ponytail, you went on to win 3 world titles.
Not too bad.
Does hair have an impact on your game?
Maybe it's like I need to grow it back out, get that ponytail down the back again, and maybe I'll be back in the league again.
Once I fix my hairline, I got way better.
Y'all got way better, both sides. All right, let's talk a little bit about what we've seen and, of course, where the players have been competing. We have been at the Amazon Arena on the Amazon stage, and while some teams looked very comfortable on day one, you could see the nerves starting to weigh in for others, Nameless.
Yeah, I mean, one of the matches everybody was talking about, the Stallions match against Heretics, like, it was nuts. There's bad plays left and right, but these guys are getting through it. The jitters were here. I mean, even Optic Gaming had jitters on the map 1 against Omid, and today they're settled in, they're comfortable, no more jet lag, and they're ready to fry.
We heard from Ian Chambers. What are they fighting for? Not just the money, but their hopes and dreams. And already, 4 teams' hopes and dreams have been crushed, but 12 teams remain in the hunt. And if you made it to this day, you've already secured some serious cash.
That's not a bad one-day work, Puckett. I mean, we're talking about $40,000 for a Thursday, already guaranteed. We did send some teams home yesterday, but those still in it today on a Friday, they're competing to double up their cash again.
And of course, Nameless, a $1.8 million prize pool. Over $900,000 will be up for grabs in our grand finals. But more importantly, across the Esports World Cup, we have 8 weeks of competition, over 22 tournaments, and our club championship has an additional $20 million on the line in addition to this sick trophy.
I mean, and just look at that trophy. It's absolutely gorgeous, and you're talking about serious bucks here. $20 million is nuts, and Falcons might be the team that run away with it.
Falcons right now in the top spot, but unfortunately, their Call of Duty team is out. We take a look at the big board, and we do have to highlight some of the Challengers teams. Nameless, you said on day one, keep your eyes on the Challengers players. These amateurs are ready to take on the pros. Who shined and who declined here in Riyadh?
Yeah, well, you can see who's left, right? Gentlemates, they got it done by way of Neslo, 2-3-5, so we're looking at them to continue to do that. But then also the Stallions, a little crazy match back and forth, but they were able to get it done in a 3-0. So despite the bad plays, they're still here, they're kicking, and they can learn from the VOD.
Clay, we had some exciting games for the youngsters, but the old guard is still holding strong. Let's take a look at some of the big MVPs from day one, including Shotzi from Optic Gaming. Yes, they dropped the opening hardpoint to Omid Brooklyn, but after that, it looked like this young man woke up.
Yeah, it seemed like the first map they were still in first gear, but the next 3 they kicked it up into 6. And Shotzi showed you why he's the COD Champs MVP. That Karachi hardpoint last map, I think he went double positive, took over the entirety of the map and just showed, hey, I'm Shotzi, I'm here to win this tournament.
Yeah, you know, it was a very close match, though. I mean, you're talking about the control, like Pred had to make a huge play down the wire for them to win. So Optic Gaming, if you're an Optic fan, like, you're happy that they got the win with the result, but maybe a little too close.
We said this might be the group of death. Shotzi so far has been one of the standout players. Optic Gaming as a whole, how would you rate their day one performance, Clay?
I would rate it, 9 out of 10. Of course, they've dropped that real hard point, but they bounced back so smooth, and I love watching Shotzi play. He's like water, just flowing over the map with that new hybrid movement where he's diving everywhere, and he's just absolutely abusing it all over the map.
And Nameless, today, Shotzi gets a chance to play against Carolina Royal Ravens. What do you need if you're Carolina to take down Optic?
You need everybody to be firing on all cylinders, right? Like this Royal Ravens team, they came out and they made quick work of the Vegas Legion. A lot of us were looking at Vegas like they could be the dark horse. Carolina quickly taking that name.
Vegas had a chance for redemption in the elimination bracket, and in their first matchup, they took down Omid Brooklyn 3-1. What do you get as a reward for beating a team here in Riyadh?
Everything.
Well, at the Esports World Cup, you take their key, you put it under the hydraulic press, and you crush that bad boy.
It's so brutal. I love it. This is so fitting for Call of Duty Esports that not only do you beat them and you get to say, hey, I'm better than you, you get to take their key and crush it and then maybe put it in your trophy at the end.
Not only that, the other team has to walk up and hand it to you. I saw ProLoot doing that. I said, that could never be me.
Barney's like, shake hands if you want to. We'll see who does throughout the tournament. Over in Group B, though, you got to give a shout out to the former subliners, now Cloud9 roster, as they looked like the New Jersey is feeling pretty good for the squad. They had a slight slip up on Search and Destroy, but Respawn was so clean.
Yeah, their jerseys are looking clean. I love to see the Cloud9 back in Call of Duty Esports. Their jerseys look clean and their gameplay looked clean. You know, they made a roster change after last year, bringing in Civ, and I don't know if they exactly lived up to the expectations. They didn't win COD champs, but they've still been performing extremely well, and they're all cleaned up.
Back-to-back World Championship attendees for the Grand Final. They won one ring, they fell short of one ring.
Not bad, huh?
What are the expectations for this crew right now in Group B?
Yeah, the expectation is to obviously win this group first and foremost, one match at a time, but it's really championships. I think now that you have Civ in his final form, he is frying. Like, the tandem of him and Hydra is absolutely insane in terms of slaying power, and then you have the intelligence of guys like Kismet and Skies, right? So they're here to win this thing, and they know they're capable of it. Been so close, like at Champs a couple weeks ago. I think they can do it.
Cloud9 boppity bopping. Gentlemate's down to that elimination bracket, but here's where the surprises came awry. Towards the end of the night, G2 Esports was expected to bounce back after some close respawns against Vancouver Surge. Instead, they lose to Gentlemates in a Game 5. Gentlemates, one of our challenger squads, moves forward, and already the squad representing Minnesota is done.
Yeah, and that's our first pro team bounced out of the tournament, right? Gentlemates, there are some ex-pros on that team like Vance, and I want to give a shout out to Cobra. There was a lot of players, pro players on Twitter saying like, oh, what am I watching right now? But that Cobra guy, he can fry, he can shoot extremely straight. I'm excited to see where his career goes.
Hopefully his stats look better in the future. For now, though, let's turn our attention over to a team who had no problem dropping numbers. Toronto Ultra, known for their slaying force. Normally, we're talking about Scrap. We're talking about Kleenex. Yesterday, we were talking about Dylan Envoy. Let's take a look at what the SMG, the world champion, brought to the table.
And we talked about subliners making a roster change, and Toronto Ultra did the exact same after last year. They brought in Dylan Envoy from the Thieves, and really, they got a slow start. They performed extremely well, and then they're kind of falling off, but Envoy's extremely good at what he does, at playing that objective role, that kind of glue role. And I know, Ann, you're a huge fan of Dylan Envoy.
Yeah, I think when people criticize the Toronto Ultra, they're trying to find a person to pin things on. And a lot of times it will be Envoy because we give so much credit to Scrap and Kleenex, but those guys wouldn't be able to do what they're doing right now if it wasn't for Envoy. And he has takeover performances, 7,000 damage, map 1 yesterday.
Post-match interview, Scrap says, these are a bunch of bums. We are moving out of this group, no problem. But there is a surprise challenger for Toronto Ultra today. Boston, after winning just 7 matches the entire 2024, wins their first one. They send Heretics down to that elimination bracket, and then Stallions send Beagle and the Heretics back in Clay.
And Exceed was getting loud on the Stallions. He was letting them know that they were getting 3-0'd. And the tough thing for Heretics is you can have a bad day at Call of Duty. It really sucks they had to play 2 in one day because they didn't get a chance to kind of figure out what was going wrong, and they just got sent home on the first day.
They challengers team, though. You got to get the win.
Heretics getting bopped out over in Group D. We had a Game 5. Our first Game 5 on the main stage came in the 6th match of the night. We had the home team Falcons taking on Lore Gaming. And at the end, Arcitys, the 2-time world champ, went into man mode. He showcased his gunny, not just in the respawn, but also the search and destroy to send the Falcons packing.
Yeah, the 2-time came out yesterday, right? Like, you could see, you've been in those situations, Clay, like both of us have. We're playing like a challenger team or an amateur team, and you're like, dude, if I lose this, I'm never going to hear that from them, from the community. Like, I have to get this win. And Arcitys dug deep and absolutely fried, and now Lore have a chance to keep on going. So,
I think this was the expected win. Lore Gaming was the favorites coming in, but Clay, you were talking about it mid-series. Exnit and the Falcons were stronger than anyone predicted coming into the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Exnit on the Falcons. You know, I have a little bit of an eye for some talent, and the way that that guy plays, I can tell he has a bright future ahead of him if he gets the right people around him, starts practicing against better opponents. Exnit is extremely good.
He's talented for sure.
Lore Gaming, at the end of it all, walks away with the search and destroy victory, the Game 5, and of course the match. They stay alive. And the honor? Well, you get to crush some keys. Yuli putting this thing underneath the hydraulic press. But I was looking at the players. Are they seriously this happy with a performance that took them the distance?
Absolutely not. We had a little conversation with Alec at Arcitys in the hotel last night, and he goes, man, I was playing 2v6, and I was like, man, all right, well, you won with only 2 people on your team. Hey, at least you're doing something right. Looking for a rebound and to clean it up a little from here.
Yeah, and these are the guys that won Challenger champs, right? So the pressure's not getting to them. They're comfortable. It's just a close game. You're going up against the Falcons, who you aren't experienced against. You don't know how they like to approach it. Now you got that one under your belt, you're playing Atlanta FaZe or 100 Thieves. It's going to be a tough matchup regardless. You just got to be ready.
All right, so Falcons are out in Group D. So what does it mean for our groups today? Well, we're going to be sending some teams into the playoffs, our round of 8. Other teams will be sent home in these elimination matches. And as we look at who's remaining, who's got the toughest group here on day number 2, Nameless? What are you looking out for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Group A, just because the level that Carolina's playing at, and then also when you think about the Legion, they had a huge bounce back, and I looked at that roster. The composition is fantastic. They should be a lot better today.
Vegas versus Carolina could be happening once again, but first, Carolina gets to take on Optic Gaming. That should be a good one, and we have plenty of games coming your way today. First, though, let's take a look at our reactions from day 1. It's our Pepsi reactions, and Clay, there was elation, there was despair, all kinds of emotions out there on the Amazon Arena stage.
That's real Call of Duty Esports, right? You have the one side extremely ecstatic that they're winning and the other side extremely demoralized. And we saw all sorts of everything coming out of all the teams yesterday. It's unfortunate that some of the teams didn't perform as well. And we're looking at Insight here rubbing his fingers together, got that little smirk on. You know, they're coming with a little swag.
Yeah, you know, Chris, you mentioned the feeling of victory, and oh man, I miss that so dearly. But what I do not miss is that feeling of despair as we sent some players home. And I was drinking a Diet Pepsi in the back, relaxing, watching it, so I'm not going to deal with that anymore. But yeah, I mean, we're going to send some more players home today. We're going to see some huge hype moments because we will be getting our bracket.
Shout out to Pepsi for the top reactions from day 1, and of course the caffeine to keep us alive all the way till 1:30 a.m., Clay, when we wrapped up that final match with Lore Gaming taking on the Falcons. Today, though, I'm so excited to see the teams that were on the second stream over on the main stage. I hope we get a chance to see Vancouver. I hope we get a chance to see Carolina, and it looks like we're going to see Carolina right away. They're here in our first matchup against Optic. In the second match, we are going to have a very, well, potentially a very close showdown. 100 Thieves looking very confident, and they're taking on the team that had the #1 seed almost all regular season this year in Atlanta FaZe.
Yeah, and we've seen them match up quite a few times. I believe it was Major 3 or 4 where they went all the way to Game 5, round 11, and we saw Thieves. They all hit dark. They have been in the lab. They've learned so much since then. They're bound to be a better team when it comes to that match.
Let's talk about our Jamil Motorsport match of the day. That will be the battle that all eyes are on. Clayster, give me a little preview. You got youngsters on 100 Thieves. You got the vets in Atlanta FaZe.
And I think 100 Thieves showed why they're such a talented team at COD Champs this year. They made a pretty deep run into that bracket at COD Champs, and I think they're feeling as confident as ever. They've really been working on their S&D. Really, they showed all these wallbang spots at Champs. They know all these ins and outs, all these nerd spots. I love seeing all the preparation that goes into tournaments.
But can we say, no JCap?
Okay? No JCap.
That's a big difference.
He's the glue guy.
I did see Shane running around, giving his players water, making sure they had their Pepsis. He's doing the JCap role. Well done, Shane. No, much love to JCap, our fantasy football adversary. For now, though, we got to take a look at our upcoming showdown. I'm told the matches are nearly ready, so let's look at the first battle of the day. It's going to be Shotzi and Optic Gaming going up against TJ Halley, who is ready to go. He hasn't been on the main stage. This will be his time to shine.
Yeah, you know, I had breakfast with TJ and their coach, Brian Saint, yesterday, and we're just talking about it. They said they've been playing extremely well. They like the way Beans fits in. At first, he's playing a little bit too aggressive, just pushing out the cuts. They got him to slow down a little bit, and it's translated to so much success, and we saw it in their first match. But in this match in particular, they have struggled, Chris. All year we watched it. Optic slamming them. You were on the team. What needs to be different?
Honestly, the big deciding factor when it comes to playing Optic Gaming is the sub battle. Okay. Your sub on your team has to perform against Shotzi and Pred. And I know there's a lot more ARs being pulled out lately. Sometimes we see 3, maybe even 4 on a map. But every time we played them this year, Optic subs ran us over. So I expect to see something out of TJ England.
Let's walk you through the World Championship lineup for Optic Gaming. The 2024 team is Dashy, Pred, Shotzi, and Kenny. And on the other side of the stage, got some strong guns of their own. The best from England is Beans on the AR. TJ is going to be the objective mastermind with Gwyn and Fellow trying to lead the slang rolls.
Yeah, you know, these guys at times looked absolutely excellent throughout the year. Beans on the worst team in the league was frying, though. In terms of damage, right up there with Scrap, actually, in the hard points. So should add a little bit of slaying power to this roster. I'm very excited to see how they perform on that stage. Yeah, you're nasty.
Slaying power? What the heck?
You're more intellectual, right?
Yeah, he's a little bit smarter. Bean's got the aimer right now. Let's take a look at our players' confidence, though, as they get off the golf carts and start rolling in to the Amazon Arena. This is Brett leading the way. All smiles for the Australian.
A little hot outside. You saw him squinting a little bit, but hey, we're in Riyadh. We're enjoying our time out here. I know all the players are absolutely ecstatic about the hospitality and everything here. I love to see them walking in like that.
Now, when they won the World Championship, they did it on home ground in Texas. Here they are across the world in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Does that affect any of the players taking the stage?
Yeah, I think, you know, for Optic, at basically every event, the crowd is going to sway towards them, right? So, and they're on record saying it does make them play better. And there's no doubt about it. I've been in that situation. The crowd's rooting for me. I'm going to perform a little bit better. This is neutral ground. This is new for guys like Shotzi and Dashi who've been on Optic for so long. They're used to having that crowd behind them. So, Carolina Royal Ravens may be feeling a little comfortable.
It's going to be a battle between those 8 men in game, but before the matchup, we had the coaches weighing in on which maps and modes we should be playing in this best of 5. So let's take a look and find out where we going for the first hard point. JP versus Brian Saint. Clay, walk me through these picks and bans. Do you like them?
We have a sub-base hard point. I hope we get to a map 4. No 3-0s here
Finally got a
today.
sub-base
It's the
after
first
so
time we've seen
long.
a sub-base in 2 tournaments now, but we're starting on the 6-star hard point. I like these new maps so much
Sub-base
because
is so
it
hard
allows
to play,
teams
though.
develop their own strategies over a quick period of time instead of having to play the same map all year.
All right, take the analyst hat off for a second and give me.
Wish they
a
never
that
took
was on
out
the Royal
Tournament.
Ravens.
Tournament
When
was
you look
such a
at
good
this
map.
list,
They
you're
actually
going into this
did,
match versus Optic. You comfortable?
No,
change rotations and stuff on that.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Karachi controlling the sub base is tough.
Now, we are going to be on that 6-star to open things up. Talk to me a little bit about hardpoint. You mentioned the Carolina Royal Ravens need their subs to go off. Is this all on Gwyn? Is it on TJ?
Yeah.
Is it both of them? What are you looking at?
So obviously everybody has to perform, but I was going to mention Gwyn on LAN has been very underwhelming for me personally when I watch him. Online, he's been unbelievable. He's had takeover matches, entire stages he's taken over for you guys in the respawns. On LAN, there has been a dip in performance. Now that he's had some extra time to reflect on his season and has had an entire rookie year, I'm expecting him to fry here in this match. He needs to.
And to be honest, I love seeing the energy out of them yesterday, out of the Ravens. You saw against their Legion match, they were getting hyped. They're all screaming. Tyler Fellow clutched a 1v2. They all got loud. I saw Gwyn getting loud. I hadn't seen that much this year, and maybe they're kind of bringing the fire this tournament.
He did win the award. He won
Here we go. He won an award, but didn't play a champs. Now he gets a chance to play for $1.8 million. We want you to weigh in. Can Carolina take down Optic Gaming, our #1 seed? Head on over to stcplay.gg. It's time for our analysts to get their first prediction correct on the day. It's a brand new day, Clay. Let's go 1 for 1.
Hey, Ravens drop me. I'm going Optic.
Optic.
Optic for sure.
Hey, listen, I like the Ravens, but I'm going to go Optic. I think they get it done in 4.
Optic 3-0 for sure.
Doing it in 3. Optic Gaming versus Carolina to open the day. Let's go to the stage.
Yep, knew it. There's no way Carolina wins.
Marhaban, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome from Amazon Arena in Riyadh. 16 teams have entered this stage on day 1. Only 12 remains in our day 2 of the Modern Warfare 3 at the Esports World Cup. My name is Kiyali, and I'm your host alongside the incredible Barney Banks.
Thank you very much. Yesterday we had some
Barney
painful
Banks.
send-offs, but that's the reality of the Amazon Arena. You've got to show up, or there is the door. And today, the reality is that 4 more teams will be sent packing.
Let's not forget, we are starting with the upper bracket matches where so many familiar faces will get their chance to have their revenge against their bitter rivals.
And let's not forget that we have $1.8 million at stake, and of course the beautiful Esports World Cup trophy, just patiently waiting for that championship key to be placed in the center. But without any further ado, I believe it is time to introduce our first two teams to take to the main stage. It is of course Optic Gaming and Carolina Royal Ravens.
Let's go, boys.
I'll say it one more time. One of these teams will go straight to the playoffs while the other team will be fighting for survival.
Yes, they will. We've got the champs on one hand, and on the other, a team with a fresh new face looking to make waves. Let's do it.
God, they do not look happy.
Good evening from here in Riyadh at the Esports World Cup, or good morning if you're brewing some coffee out in the US of A. It's shift with study for our opening match here in day number 2, a qualifier between Optic Gaming and the Carolina Royal Ravens. History would say that this is a one-sided affair for Optic Gaming. The map series layout may give us a little bit of extra icing towards that cake, but this is a new Ravens team, Jay.
Yeah, this is a brand new Ravens team. At least one player swapping out Clayster, bringing in Beans, a more consistent AR. When you talk about that slaying department, no shade at my boy Clay.
Yeah, okay.
But the addition of Beans, he's been able to turn up on even Boston Breach. Like Nameless said, keeping up with the damage, especially against a player like Scrap in Hardpoint, is honestly insane. In the series yesterday versus Vegas, he drops a 1.3. 10K damage leads the entire lobby. So that main AR needs to be felt, but I think that's touched on it perfectly. You have to make sure your SCGs are performing against those two other guys in the opposing stage.
Without question, and I think this is going to be really interesting, I think, to see the dichotomy between Beans and Fellow versus what Clay brought to this team with Fellow. Obviously, the veterancy, not exactly a one-for-one, but Beans has seen every inch of the league essentially to this point in his career. And with Fellow in the mix, you know, at times he's been kind of more of a run and gun style AR. Yeah. It feels like he's definitely taken a little bit of a slower approach with this team, at least in the first instance of which they played yesterday. But this is a different matchup. When you're playing up against a Kenny and a Dashi, there's a lot riding, especially with a 6-star and a sub-base hardpoint still in the mix.
Yeah, the ARs need to be felt, man, but we know it's going to be about the S&D. Shotzi, MVP of Call of Duty Championships. He was unbelievable at the last event, but then you're going up against the Rookie of the Year in Gwyn. This was their head-to-head stats of day one. Obviously, the matchup for Carolina Royal Ravens versus the Vegas Legion looked to seem like it was a lot easier. A 1.61 overall KD for the Rookie of the Year.
You guys in the chat, who do y'all think are going to win before the match even starts? Optic or Royal?
Absolutely the case. Ravens. Look, I mean, obviously Twitter kind of got set on fire a little bit with Optic dropping the opening hard point to the Challengers team they played in the opener.
Y'all can put in the comments as well, because it's going to be uploaded to YouTube. So.
As soon as they got into map number 2, though, you saw the smiles, you saw the laughs, you saw the Optic Gaming World Champion that you expected to see. But it did feel like this Carolina Royal Ravens team had something new and fresh. And we often talk about things like honeymoon phases. They very well may find themselves right in the midst of it here.
That's what I've been hearing around town, man. The talk around town is everybody that has been scrimming the Carolina Royal Ravens, they've been putting up a tremendous fight. Yeah. Tyler fell, and he is running a very, very strict camp over there. So you have to make sure everybody's on the same page today, because you're going up against the world champs.
Day one, when Ravens were in, we saw Fellow like in the hotel lobby, and we're like, shouldn't he be screaming? Like, I had to get off, no one can kill me.
Yeah, I was like, and he gave us the depth stare too. So like, he looked like he was ready to rock and roll, regardless of who he was going to play against.
Well, we're ready to rock and roll here again. Good morning to all of you out in the United States. But here it's time to dig into dinner. And with that, we've got map number 1, the 6-star hardpoint. Again, it has been pretty much as comfortable as it gets when it comes to map mode combinations for Optic. We'll say the same things about the sub-base.
Oh, let's go.
This feels like come out, do your best if you're Carolina, but definitely make sure you've got your eyes on the 2, 3, and the 5, because that feels like the biggest win.
Oh,
condition
Shotzi
set
with the
up for
dolphin
them.
dive.
Enough talking. Let's get down into the action. As Quinn will start us off with the first blood onto Shotzi, leading to Carolina, finding some early time on P1.
Yeah, early into this P1, Carolina, they're not really playing for the hill. They're playing for the exit kills right off the rip, making sure that their setup is going to be held. And once a couple kills go their favor, then eventually they will jump into that hard point as they find 3 dead already in the feed. 30 seconds still to fight for here. And if you are Optic Gaming, how aggressive do you decide to be in this situation? Because you do not want to spawn across the map.
Well, you can see Optic are trying to kind of use that central focus point as a way to hold off this right side and then hit the outsides of the map. But Carolina are covering all their bases.
Oh, gosh, 3 down.
Able to find himself 2 in the feed. That will get a lot of early time for Ravens, who are now looking at TJ to maybe open up some space.
Yeah, I gotta see if I have that camo.
Perfect start right here for Carolina.
Pre-ordered the game. I gotta check that.
40-second hold at this P1 HP. You're already coming out the gate swinging. Now about this rotation, Optic have the spawns, and they're also sending a couple players out of those certain angles to make a little bit more layers for them to create, to make it more difficult for Carolina to find this early break.
Interestingly enough, Beans, who kind of fell on the long flank, he spawns security, then wants to rejoin the hit from the front here. That's finding some success. Fellow and Gwyn able to get themselves 2. Beans will open up the hard point. Now it's just down to how Optic reinforce. Shotzi just going to wait in through vents, but he gets sniffed out, and all of a sudden Carolina have a break from the front.
And this is perfectly played so far from Carolina. Fennelly already on 5 in a row. He probably was telling us the truth.
Guys,
no
5
one
and 0.
can kill him, sitting at 5 and 0.
We gotta kill him. He's one off that streak.
With only 25 seconds still to fight for here, you have to start thinking about that rotation if you are Optic. Thankfully, you got a player like Fred who already hits a route. He flips the spawns. Now the junk time is going to be theirs, and they're going to win the rotation.
I love that hit from Dashy in particular. You know that you've got Ravens
Oh,
trying to hit
almost
the
turned
map,
on.
So why not take your 1v1 for the old time? The space that's been gained towards you is brilliant. So now you keep your focus on Beans. Shotzi waiting around the corner. This 1v1 could be everything. Who gets too antsy first? And it's Shotzi who peeks the angle. Beans finds the kill, and now all of a sudden Optic should be spawning out.
And it's already 2 dead in the feed, so you have the numbers if you are Carolina. You just got to bombard your way through that front door. Hopefully you can win the trade fights through the back end, but at least
nice,
you get
3
those
down.
back spawns. Optic Gaming, they find the kills around the hill, but for how long? Because Carolina are instantly here for another break opportunity.
That was a great individual moment, though, from Kenny. Able to play that backside bar, find himself a couple of kills. It makes things a little bit sloppy for Carolina, but still they spawn up, and with that, they get the setup that they want. Now trying to bunker up from inside the hard point. Contest is up through the waterfall. Nades are landing. Optic finding the kills, and now it's just down to finding the last 2 members inside the hill for the scrap.
And this is what Optic usually find themselves doing a lot on this 6-star, but they are not having success. They fight for the ending of that P3 and usually dominate over towards that P4, but Carolina coming out of the game swinging. Already up by almost 50 points. It's going to be Optic Gaming walking away with the final 10, but rotation won by Carolina.
Yeah, looking at the regular season
Optic's
stats,
got to get this rotation. They got to kill these people off hill and get this hill time.
A little bit of a slow start for Optic as Carolina double down on the points that the team in green.
They always go down in hard point and they come back, so.
TJ watching off the pinch. Hit is on the way for Optic, but the first 2 kills are clean, so now
nice,
TJ
3
has
down.
to make a play, but he's
Last
not going
guy.
to be allowed to stay here for long, or will he?
Nice.
He's able to take down 2, which will make this next hit for Ravens that much stronger.
It's going to make it a little bit easier.
They can make this comeback right here. Get all this time.
Not yet going to be into the
Hold
play,
this.
but Fred, he takes the ground away from them. He applies that pressure. He's going to slow down that angle of attack from Carolina. And now this is where Optic Gaming start to turn the game around. P4 has been their money.
They're just getting warmed up.
Since the beginning of the season, whenever this map was added, an overall record of 9-1. They were just down by 50. They're going to be able to take the lead with this final 20.
Really clean on the 4th hard point, especially knowing that they could push out these last couple of remaining Ravens members. Now it's just a question of how you transition back into the middle of the map. Kenny's
Dashy's on a 4th streak.
Carolina all on the right as Shotzi tries to find a pitch.
Get that Pred, that'll be.
Following up on that route would be Pred, but Carolina will get into the middle of the map first.
Now the guns are a little bit more warmed up for both of the squads. Optic Gaming looking to get a little bit of time now at this P1 HP. You have steps control, you have mid connector, you have Shotzi also finding a double kill. That's going to make it a lot easier. All you need is
Dashy
trade
on
from
5
Dashy.
streak. We need
He
one
now
more.
finds himself on 5 in a row. All the hill time, all the map control in favor of Optic Gaming.
It's been just one of those maps for Bruce where he's
nice. Let's go. Cruise missile.
I'll sit up inside the hill. Finds himself on the cruise missile for 6 in a row before eventually TJ's Dave takes him out of commission. Follow-up eliminations, though, are perfect for Optic, and now the last 30 is what we're fighting for as Optic will look to also transition to the right side of the map.
Look at how aggressive they are already getting up through the middle of the map. You're going to have Shotzi going for the double challenge. He's only able to take down 1, but he puts in a couple shots onto Beans. Now this final 20 is going to be theirs. What a turnaround to this hard point for Optic. So they were able to chain that P4 to that P1, and now they're almost going to be up by 50 points, but they're looking for a quick break here. Kenny starting off with that gunfight through the back. Here comes the pressure.
This is looking dicey for Carolina. TJ took a long route from security to try to hit the pinch through mid, but the hit from the front for Optic has been convincing. So now all of a sudden, Carolina just need to flood their way back into the hard point. Kenny, good information gathering, finds one before Pred did, unfortunately takes him out. Shotzi still watching on the back sidelines, but only finds one. That's not going to be good enough as Dashy will be able to try to hold from the front, but the angles that Carolina
Dashy just jumping around.
Yeah, they're going to be in the hard point, but Optic are right here ready to rock. Kenny already finds himself another cruise missile earned. Sitting on 7 in a row. Optic 3 on 2 for the trades, but Beans finding that double might give Carolina another opportunity to work their way back in.
The thing about this is you've got 2 cruise missiles. Optic can keep committing to this break as much as they possibly want, but good kills from Carolina. Keep this a bit staggered for Optic on their final break attempt. Shotzi shut down at vent. 18 seconds, and now the options are pretty much off the table. Kenny just doing what he can to make sure there's no easy exit for Carolina, but Optic will have to default for playing for the rotation anew.
And now this is where Optic Gaming have to make the adjustments off the rotation this time around. You saw that it was Beans winning that one-on-one versus Shotzi, and at the same time, Felony finding one kill through that front end. That led to an early break and a lot of time there for Carolina, but it seems like they have all their bases covered. Great shots out of Beans to take down. Kenny cannot find a second, and Optic Gaming hold on to the first push.
And Kenny just spawns up right where he fell. I mean, this is so convincing for Optic on this setup. Plus, if things get mixy, they could still use a cruise if they wanted to gain some separation from the front. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Dashy going to call him his now. This will put this to right around about a 70-point game.
Let's go. That's a 3-piece right there.
They do. All 3 still alive will drop. Gwyn does take 1 out of the hard point, but Dashy's done his job. And
that should be a lot of time right there.
Yeah, they're starting to run away with this game, man. 25 seconds still to fight for here at this P3. Carolina know that they cannot give up this time for free, but now with only 20 seconds left, someone
3 down again. Let's go.
That rotation. You have one player gets
spawn back there. Nice 3 down.
Perfect read from Kenny. So Optic Gaming flawless on that P3. Another opportunity to get another full 60 here at P4.
This second set of hills has been borderline perfect from Optic. They have played every single one of them to the highest value possible. Gwyn looking to open something up by himself from the backside of the sky bridge. That's not going to happen. And Fellow will just have to sit up here at security while he waits for his teammates. And as the time starts to tick away, pressure on for the Ravens to jump into a listen-in with Carolina.
Yo, or drop. 1 shot.
And 1 pinch blue. Shotzi pinch blue, 1 drop. Nice, 1 drop still.
Yeah, our drop.
Drop that. Nice. Nice time. John off, I think left.
Time. 1 top.
Good sun snates. I stunned him, no troll. They could hit our secret. I'm tagging the shit. On right. Top office front. Behind us. Top office and secret. Last 2.
Secret dead.
Top office weak, right side.
Top office, absolutely.
And 1 behind me, long. There's Kenny holding an iron long. Holding an iron long, 1's office.
Don't bid. Top dead. I killed 1. On that side.
That's office. Nice, good job.
One shot.
Open dead. There's one behind me, blue. Top VIP weak, he's jumping out. No, he went low blue.
Low blue, 1 shot.
Spawn behind him.
Low blue, 1 shot.
Well, it's a late break over towards 4 for Carolina, but the lead is still massive for Optic, and they've got a full surround over the new hard point, although individual wins do go the way of Carolina, keeping them alive for now.
Yeah, they already find 3 dead in the feed, make it all 4. So you're able to stabilize the map a little bit, but you need to chain a couple hard points to get yourself back into this game. So you were able to gain 40 seconds first go around at this P1. You need to repeat that here. As trades are bound around that middle map area, but Beans again finds himself on 5 in a row. Fortunately, does not find an opportunity to earn that cruise missile, and Optic Gaming again soaking up this hill time.
And you could tell by the comms for Carolina, they're trying to construct these breaks. It's just as soon as they try to hit the go call, someone from Optic goes uncovered, and it just blows the whole play wide open. So that's been, I think, the big difference maker between the first
got rotation, so pretty sure we're gonna win off this hill. We should win off this hill.
Optic will hold the proximal spawns for now, and they get clearance through that front side at pool. This is where the game could possibly end.
You got to keep in mind,
it's not third hill.
In the back pocket, just in case it gets a little bit scary with the aggression coming in from Carolina on the front side of this hard point. Because you know you have to contest this from the front. You're not going to work your way through the back because the close spawns for Optic Gaming going to be right there, ready for those engagements. TJ starts it off with the first. What else can they find?
Shotzi on the pinch. They expect it. First shots are good from him. Does get a second as well, and then Pred finishes everything off. That should be the game-winning play.
Yep, I think that's game.
I mean, absolute
game 1, Optic.
From Optic through that second set. Here as they close it out on P2, it'll be a 250 to 155 game. Very comfortable.
Good game, boys.
That's just way too easy, man. This has been a bread and butter hardcore for them on the season. They were 9-1 going into this one. Now make it 10-1, and that sort of scares me now for Carolina, because this is sort of looking like every single time we've seen these two organizations match up against each other, it usually goes the same way. Optic dominate in the respawns. Overall, between this matchup, 6-1 in Hardpoint, make it 7-1. 3-1 in Control. Obviously, we have a couple maps until we get there, but the respawns have been utterly dominated by Optic Gaming, and they show it there to go up 1-0 in the series.
Dude, we're dealing with a Hardpoint map set where Optic are 21-3 in the regular season.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Blake knew what he was talking about. He said, hey, take the analysts out, jump into the player like you were. Oh, yeah, we stand no chance. Yeah, I can see that. You put their best respawns in the entire best of 5.
Yeah.
That is probably not going to be good for you guys.
I mean, there is at least something to be told, though, about, you know, Beans having an impact immediately. He's got a great map overall, but it's still Optic at the end of the day. And I will say, you know, Pred, great map from him, following up on all the space that Shotzi was creating. So this looks like, again, the Optic respawn that you want to see if you were to label them as championship caliber.
Without question, man, because it was Pred who was really keeping them in the game off the rip. He was sitting at 16-10. Everyone was around double negative, and then Shotzi started to activate towards the later half. But you could just tell Pred was getting away from them in certain situations. Like when they got to that P4, and they were saying, oh, there's a guy sitting top security. That was Pred. Then they realized that we did not kill that guy. All of a sudden, he flanks them and finds a 2-piece. Like, you got to make sure you're keeping track of these players on Optic Gaming, because when you allow them to get lost, that's when they are really, really hard to deal with.
And when that speed and that tempo picks up, you go from being 5-0 as fellow to finishing 18-26.
Tough. You're losing track of players, man.
I think that 3-piece is what got that win. Once they got that 3-piece in, they didn't let them get a point.
Insurmountable lead. But like we talked about, you want to be able to tell if this Optic team is going to be in Major 3 and World Championship form, or are they going to be in Stage 4 form. This is the team that we know can win champions.
Hey, they're still riding the high. Yeah. Still riding the high of that World Championship a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, they were battle tested there. When I had the chance to, the opportunity to talk to them about what gave you guys the drive, or what was the one match at Champs that made you feel like you can win it, and they always told me it was the reverse sweep versus LAT. When your backs are against the wall and you have to play some of your best Call of Duty at time, just that one moment that you get allows you to gain that confidence, to gain that momentum, and continue to push it forward. And they showed it here in this map 1, not starting off as slow as they did yesterday.
Do you think it's a myth, be a mistake? Like, it hasn't necessarily been one of Optic's best maps by any stretch, but Optic's best maps by any stretch, but I think they're trying to get Beans more involved than they are.
That's what it is. They don't want to play these guys on Optic Gaming with those SPs in hand who tend to get lost around the map. So you want to play those strong AR maps so you can have Beans beef up with that AR. Alongside Felony, who was playing fantastic, I guess, all the way up into that map number 1.
Yeah.
But you still have opportunities here now in this map number 2, because this has to be guaranteed if you want to stay alive in this series. For me, if you're Carolina.
And let's just go down
map 2 already? We're already in the map 2.
If you're Vegas, you're taking mental note of that.
Oh, yeah.
These guys don't want to play close quarter maps? All right, let's find out. Let's jump into the high-rise search and destroy, though. Again, if you're Carolina, you're looking at the 2-3-5 as your probably biggest opportunity to take maps in this series. So this feels like a must-win, as they will kick things off on the opening offense.
Oh, we saw Optic Gaming towards the ending of the season start to add high-rise search and destroy to their map pool because of what they're able to get done. They usually show a lot of presence over towards B Street. They have made the adjustments, and keep in mind, no smoke grenades on this map. It's all going to come down to gunfights.
And on the other side of things for Carolina, they only won this map twice.
Traded kill, no.
Although, nice control over towards B Street opens up maybe an opportunity to think about a B plant. Have to worry about that player on the long cross, though, over towards Helipad, and that's Shotzi just waiting for his time to hit.
40 seconds still to play with. Shotzi's already worked his way behind enemy lines, and I don't think that Beans is going to gain that info. Curious to see how loud his headset is. He's not going to get the sound cue, so Shotzi's able to find his second on the round. Now it's Gwyn, the rookie of the year, trying to clutch up in the 1v2.
And he knows he's stuck between both parties of this Optic Gaming twosome, so it's down to how do you want to try to isolate this. He's looking for Shotzi first, knowing that Dashy is probably going to be staying safe towards windows, but this is taking a ton of time. And, well, time may expire on the play if he doesn't see anyone sometime soon. Pistol out. He does catch Dashy. Could lead to a possibility of a plant. Shotzi up and over, but Gwyn doesn't see it initially. Trying to snap, and the damage is decent, but not convincing enough to get the kill. Time will expire, and Optic will take the round.
Let's go, boys. Round 1.
Scary there. Once Shotzi puts down those first couple of shots, you realize he's not planning the bomb. Probably just want to run away, but thankfully he doesn't fall, and Gwyn gave it a good run. But unfortunately, not enough time to find those tills and also work that objective. But Shotzi just doing what he does. Sneaking behind enemy lines, finding a couple kills, just making it so hard for you to even think about your play call.
Yeah. Okay, well, now we jump into the second round. Optic will be on the offense. Carolina looking to play pretty passively over the middle of the map. A couple of long-range angles being taken through big windows and over towards the ace side. But Gwyn with an AR in hand will be able to find first blood on a Pred that's over at the middle of the map. It's immediately countered though, and that's enough for shots.
Oh
Try
my
to
God.
follow up, but the shots to the wall not damaging enough to find the kill, and Carolina will come out with
He's
3v2.
so one shot.
Dashi is at least able to take down Gwyn instantly, so it's going to be a 2v2, make it a 2v1 now. But you already have the information gained onto Dashi, so make this round basically impossible. Force him to plan it. Do not go for those single island chows.
Yeah, and don't let him have this crossing angle, because you know that Dashi is very capable of beaming you in an instant. Bomb down in a precarious spot. Beams, red. Opening shots are good, but there's the double chow, and Carolina will find the isolated kill and turn that into a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, that's good plays right there from Carolina to not fully commit individually. They go for the team shots. Beans put in a couple, but Felony was ready for that trade gunfight. It's good when you start off with that early first blood. Effective on the trades, keeping yourself in the man advantage, not allowing Optic to take the map away from you.
Yeah, and that's the big part, is it's not just the fact that they find the first blood, it happens through the middle of the map.
Yeah.
So there's no real easy way to rotate around after that happens for Optic. Yes, there's a couple of trades, but once you win that mid lane over if you're Carolina, you use it, and boy did they ever. Velo will be on 3 in a row after round number 2. And he will be the dedicated bomb carrier here. Trophy system down as they will again just kind of look at these crossing angles through mid, but Shotzi down low finds one. Trade is in though, we'll stay 3v3.
Still a 3v3 management play for both of these rosters, but Optic Gaming, they're taking a lot of map away from Carolina. This is going to force them to waste a lot of the game clock here. They even think about that objective, and Felony on 3 in a row is just going to try to play his life as long as he can. But Kenny in this position is so crucial because he's going to give all the info to his team.
And see Fellow at range. Shots are in. Follow up though from TJ is perfect.
Shots traded.
We'll stay 2v2. Bomb down for now, but Beans and
kills
TJ looking
traded.
to work this one together as Optic continue to be a bit separated for now, but that's mostly about the fact that Shotzi's gone completely unknown. He is in a sneaky spot.
And the same thing could be said for Beans. He's already worked his way through that underground, but Dashi gets the read on it. Able to turn it now into a 2v1. TJ left to clutch on up for a potential ace on the cards.
And it's just from Shotzi's position, he can watch this entire cross, so Dashi only has to worry about the windows. Really well played. As now TJ will collect the bomb and make his move. Does he check? Sees the barrel. Should be one for free. It is. Space to go for the plant if he wants it, but instead is looking to see if Dash is going to immediately hit the challenge. It's not the case, so this is going to be a 1v1. Who finds the timing? Oh, and TJ may have missed his window.
Damn.
Dashy checks,
They
clears,
just
now down to 3 seconds, and he knows all he has to do is
playing
stay
right beside
controlled,
each other.
and TJ's not going to find him.
Oh, and Dash is going to be holding that one over TJ. You're not playing the bomb versus me. We're former teammates, you know, back on the Optic game when it was 5v5 Call of Duty. But he's played with him for such a long time, and he understands how he likes to play S&D. The repositioning just way too much. TJ committing on the kill does not give himself an opportunity to close out that round. So Optic Gaming take the lead right on back.
Lots of really long rounds in these first 3, I'll tell you. But no plants as of yet. Means that this has essentially been a glorified TDM to this point. Brad looking to get aggressive over through mid. This is where he was found last time. Not going to be the case this time around as Gwyn is trying to take aggression towards P Street Alley. Oh, what a piece of awareness that is from Gwyn. Pops back over, finds Pred, and now it's a 4v2 for Carolina.
I feel like it took a second to shoot.
This is not going to be easy, but you at least get gifted with a freebie onto Gwyn. So 3v2, still more manageable now. Shotzi in a very crucial position.
Come on, to your right, nice.
Timing onto TJ Halley, and I'm pretty sure he gets the info onto Felony. He's ready for the second gunfight, able to get out with 83 HP, but he's gonna commit.
Waiting, just making sure that Beans isn't here to provide any assistance whatsoever. Dashy gonna take a long rotation through pit to join, and the map will flip itself. Carolina playing from what is traditionally the offensive angles, while Optic will play from the defensive side. Time running out. Shotzi seen on the long cross. Good shots from Beans. Dashy still completely unknown though. Now maybe an opportunity to get the quick trade back if he can find the route, which I don't believe he has. Beans,
oh my God.
He's going to be able to find the final 2, and Carolina take themselves up now to 2-2.
And that's another first blood in the hands of Gwyn. Finds that first kill and somehow, some way is ready for that second gunfight on Zaprade. Makes it a lot easier, but I thought Shotzi had the advantage in that gunfight versus Felony. I don't know the angle that Beans had, potentially watching his cross to try to keep his teammate alive, but you have a player that weak. I was always thinking Shotzi is going to commit to that gunfight, at least turn it into a 1v1.
It's a good opener, but doesn't fully get finished out, so we'll stay essentially all defense from here. still without a bomb being planted yet for either of these two teams, which, to be honest, that's Optic's kind of trade off.
Yeah.
They just don't really play for bomb plants. See if Carolina could kind of change the mold here just a touch. Double hit over towards blue stairs. Shotzzy once again getting aggressive towards the helipad. He gets an isolated win versus Beans. Follow-up shots are decent across the map, but Shotzzy stays alive and gets out of there.
And that's the adaptation that we've seen from Optic Gaming on High-Rise Search and Destroy. Shotzzy just setting the tone early on, taking top heli, gaining the info for his team, and then realizing where the pressure is coming in. He strikes for that first blood, and look how much ground Optic already taken away. You have Shotzzy and Kenny working behind enemy
Let's go,
lines.
2 kills.
Now,
3
Heat falls.
Round 3, let's
right
go.
Yeah, as soon as TJ misses that chance on the windows, he's dead to rights.
Yeah.
There's just no follow-up there whatsoever. Carolina was too far away. He was trying to create something to get the numbers back to even, but you missed that opportunity there. Optic will make you pay, and that's exactly what happens with 3 quick eliminations. And now with that, we get to, again, all defense. And I think if you're Optic right now, you got to put a little bit more focus over towards that B street, which has been, I think, where Carolina have found a lot of their defensive success.
It's because Optic Gaming so far in the attacking rounds, we've been watching them for quite some time. We casted a lot of the games towards the ending of the season. They'd love to apply pressure over towards blue and helipad, but we know how difficult it is to plant that bomb over towards that A site. But if you dominate over towards B,
here we go.
Wasting the age, you waste everything. It's going to be a lot easier for you as Kenny strikes for the first blood.
And that's just both ARs at long range, taking team shots. Nate's there to support. Shotzzy with the high angle thinks he may be able to take down Beans, but simultaneously, Kenny does get involved. But the trade back is immediate, and Carolina, after being completely destroyed on this B street play, have somehow managed to get this to a 2v2.
And look at how aggressive Gwyn is. Already pushes behind enemy lines. I don't know if Optic are going to be ready for this kind of play, but they are taking the opposing side of the map. They're trying to isolate onto Beans, potentially work this objective, but you got to do it quick because Gwyn has an angle.
Yes, he sure does, and that's going to stop Kenny from getting the plant, but the information is now known. Beans finds some good timing. Yes, he does.
Why does it keep doing this?
Now it's just down to 1. Dashy for the 1v2. Plenty of time on the clock for him to work around this, but he's got to find the intel, and he's more focused on the player on the flank than the player on the point. And that will work out for Carolina, keeping this thing all defense.
That's fantastic plays from Carolina. Early picked off for that first blood. Kenny finds it, but they are effective on the trades. And I feel like it's always been Gwyn to even up those numbers in those situations. Once he finds that kill, turns it into a 2v2. He does not stop his momentum. He decides to push through underground, have a different angle of attack, and then that slows down what Optic's game plan was. You're probably thinking, okay, they're camping their side of the map. We should be able to get a free bomb plan. But when Gwyn puts those shots from that angle in the back of their spawn, and then Beans pops up, it's just all up in the air.
That'll be the first round that the first blood does not lead to a round win for either of our 2 squads, as now you've got Carolina looking for some long-range angles initially. TJ, ooh, bold to try to make it up top there, and yeah, that's what I was about to say is it's another one. All of a sudden, Optic just get the high ground and just win all the gunfights flat out.
Guys, this is multiple times now that Shotzzy has hit the same exact route. He pushes up over towards that A side, he jumps on the propane and gets towards top heli. He's even smiling because he got away with it again. They are just simply not watching that angle. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But like, come on, eventually we got to make the adjustments to take down Shotzzy. He cannot keep finding first bloods on that side of the map on the defensive end.
Too easy. Absolutely too easy. Okay, so it definitely feels like the trends and the patterns, Optic are making the adjustments that it feels like could lead to an offensive win. Do you trust that you can still over-isolate this B side of the map, though, again? I mean, you found a good first blood. Just stay alive in the middle of the map, I think, especially as a call-out over towards what Pred's been able to try to work.
I think you could definitely make the play call to still fight over towards B Street. Just probably not commit on some of these individual gunfights that you're finding yourself in, but you have the playmaker and Shotzzy ready to hit this side hop up, waiting for the information that his teammates are able to provide as Kenny's working his way into the site, and he is the only one here, and he's the bomb carrier.
That's crazy.
Yeah, sure does. Just a little pixel peek in the generators. That's enough for first blood to come through. Now a lot of stress on this Carolina defense. The player over towards windows has to try to stay alive. The fellow gets bullied out. Pred follows up behind that. Last one left is Beans. Good for the first. Shots are out. He's good for the second. Hold on a second. 1v2. He's going to get the regen and the reset completely. Up top, shots are decent, but it's a little bit of a flank around the backside elevator that puts him out of business.
Just way too easy when Optic Gaming find that first blood around that B site. They get the freebie onto TJ, and then Shotzzy this time around commits onto that gunfight versus Felony for the second. And even with Beans finding a double, he was trapped over towards elevator side. Shotzzy is not going to slow down. He was playing for that final kill.
Sorry guys for that activate Windows thing.
And you can see Kenny's like laughing like, bros. I saw this guy's backpack. That's it. how that works out. Unreal stuff. Shotzzy now on 3 in a row.
Put a new
He's also been the
motherboard and
byproduct
new
of a lot of the
GPU in the
defensive first
computer,
bloods.
so now
Like
it's
you
like
called out, a lot of it
hacking
over
up.
towards the helicopter side. This time, TJ gonna get aggressive, but it gets punished. Kenny holding back a little bit further. Gwyn does get the isolation, and then Beans, a little snap and turn over towards Pred to turn the numbers in favor of Carolina.
So now Kenny and Dashy, the AR score off the game, it left to try to clutch on up, but Beans is not expecting 2 players to approach up through that B street. So Dashy finds the first, but Gwyn with the pistol gets the better of Kenny. So now the most clutch player that we had on the season, Dashy in a 1v2.
He may actually read this the right way. Sure will. Fellow will get taken down. That's the bomb. Now down, he knows it.
Hello.
Trade starting to come out through. Stun, not fully landing. Door shuts. Now it's just down to who wins out this final battle. Pistols out for both players. Dashy trying to hold
Oh, I
the
thought
corner.
Dashy had
You can
that.
even see it on Kenny's face. Like, woo! Almost pulled it, but not to be in Carolina stay alive.
Yeah, usually don't expect Dashy to lose gunfights with that Renetti in his head. I don't know. He shoots nukes with that thing, but Gwyn gets the better of him in that engagement. He was prepared for the gunfight, prepared for the moment to keep his team alive in this search and destroy, but you can already see the adjustments. This time it was Kenny who finds the first blood, but they were ready for that push. They take top heli, they shut down Shotzzy, they don't allow him to be a playmaker, and they stay alive a little bit longer.
Huge scenes, absolutely huge. And even in this moment right here, you kind of think that Dashy isolating the bomb, that may have been enough to secure the 1v2. Not fully. But can Carolina put together 2 more rounds?
Come on, boys. Just one more round and it's game 2.
Stuns out and over, but Gwyn avoids being tagged. Simultaneously, Beans is going to take an extra step. And this is how Carolina could possibly overwhelm this optic offense. What shots those are from Gwyn? Holy smokes, 5 in a row now all of a sudden, which is Pred left alive.
Yeah, and if you're Pred, this is a decision that you may have to make here because you don't want to give Gwyn that cruise missile going into the last round, but he's going to walk right into the pre-aim.
Round
so
11.
Carolina Roy Ravens 2 rounds in a row. Now with the cruise missile in the back pocket, force around 11.
And they got
you
a
gotta
cruise.
Be thinking, if you're on the offense, you got to drop this early.
They
so
gotta make
Shotzzy
them
doesn't
waste
get on
this or
that
either kill him
helipad side, and
before
then
he even
what
gets
do
it
you
all.
call? Do you go B? Do you go A? Does it just come off of what information you find? Because it feels like it should be a Carolina offense here, but we'll see.
All depending on which side of the map that they are going to be on. It is going to be a replay from Gwyn with the snaps. He finds himself on 6 in a row to close out the game, but they are on the attacking side. So Gwyn is going to play this nice and slow, going to use that cruise missile nice and early to give that information to his teammates so they can make the play call.
And Carolina's just going to take this as a way to take helipad away. Shotzzy's going to play a little bit of bait. He's going to get called out here. He's on the hunt to see if he can find Gwyn, who really that Pred missile only does so much. It just pushes Optic back into their spawn, but they do get isolation onto Shotzzy. 4v3. Kenny making move up B Street, but Beans is deep over towards A.
We have yet to see a bomb plant so far on the map. Now Carolina going to slowly work that way over towards his B side, but Kenny, he is going to get stunned. Positioning already known. The double chow is going to fly on in.
Dashy, let's go.
Dashy and Pred, they equal it up. 2v1 now.
The damage was so significant for Kenny, but now it's just down to 1.
Oh my God.
Deep over towards bottom helipad, gets a little bounce up, finds the last shots needed, and Carolina take 3 in a row.
That is icy right there out of the Royal Ravens. You had Gwyn use that cruise missile early on to get that info onto Shotzzy for the first blood. But then I thought when Dashy finds that double, Pred finds that single. You put it into a 2v1. Beans must have not been weak from the gunfight between him and Pred.
Yeah.
Because he was ready for that gunfight versus Dashy. Definitely catches him off guard with the shots that he was able to hit. But wow, Carolina needed that map and they got it done in an icy way.
Big time. It really did feel like Kenny did enough.
Yeah.
The damage that was tallied allowed for Bruce to come back through and find the double Pred on the crossing angle completely ice as they know where Beans is at that point, but he doesn't hold back. He gets proactive and bails his team out after what was a great set of rounds in a row for Gwyn to get the cruise missile in the first place. So excellent stuff from the Carolina Royal Ravens, a map that has not been great for them in the history of the former roster, showing some new life in the surge with Beans in the mix.
And the communication simply has to be better there from Optic Gaming, man. You see that Gwyn is on 5 in a row. You're in a 1v4 scenario. Let's just
Good
jump
stuff
off the
on
map.
Carolina
Let's not give him
Ravens.
that cruise missile to allow the Nava.
I think we should have won that.
Going into this round 11, because you saw Shotzzy, if there's no cruise missile, he's in the back behind enemy lines already, and he could potentially have been a playmaker. But when you give that first blood to Gwyn, and you get that cruise missile, you take it into the round 11, you find that first kill. Even though the numbers don't go your way, when you talk about the trade fights, just the icy moments made it a lot easier when Beans is shooting like that.
It did feel like, for a lot of this map, Optic were winning the chess game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a couple of small moves here and there led to major openings. Optic finding the first offensive round, but heroics, honestly, from Carolina. I mean, DJ was getting blooded a lot in the middle of the map, but still the ability to bounce back, largely off what Wood and Beans were finding together, was exquisite for Carolina staying alive.
What was it, like 3 or 4 1v1 rounds that Carolina Royal Ravens were able to clutch up on? That is just icy. That's what you want for this new team. Like you said, the honeymoon stage tends to hit a little bit different. But when you're this new roster forming, Search and Destroy is probably in the back of your minds of what you're thinking about scrimming. But Beans has been a phenomenal Search and Destroy player. Even when he used to run that sniper in hand, he's always able to get it done. They are able to tie the series up at 1, and that's exactly what Carolina needed to do.
Yes, absolutely the case. Like we said, these hard points are not going to be easy for us to look at and say, Carolina, that's where you find your wins. It's going to likely have to be through the 2-3-5 if they have to win the series, and that is massive towards the momentum, being able to take 3 in a row from the 5-3 tally to win around 11, and now all of a sudden have us considering what could be, which is the control. And honestly speaking, if we get to what it's Karachi, this is all about snowball at this point. Who can find the map control first usually leads to runaway rounds.
Hey, this is Optic's bread and butter control map. On the opposite side for Carolina, 6-8 overall on the season, but they do have a new addition to the team in Beans, who's going to be able to bring that slaying prowess. You just cannot allow on this map specifically those SMGs to get lost, because Predo's able to do it in the opening hard point. Now Shotzi seems like he's a little bit more activated, ready for every single gunfight. And on a map like Karachi, they could do it on both the defensive end and the attacking side.
Look, he's the king of finesse. Everyone knows this with this point. But hey, we've got ourselves one heck of a series to this point. Carolina fighting in at least the first half of the first map, and then 3 rounds in a row get us to a 1-1 count. That's study, of course it is. I'm Shift, of course I am. And we're gonna go to a break, because of course we are. We'll be back with map number 3, the Karachi Control, right after this.
It's the EWC and you want to play like a pro. Well, we've got a lesson for you. Axe on. You're fresh, ready to fight and grind those long hours. It's how it should be. Axe off. You're slow, unfocused, and lagging. Do you get it? Let's go again. To unleash your best game, you must freshen up first. Get your axe on. Spray, play, repeat. Axe and Esports World Cup.
لحظات البداية عاشت معنا. كنا نحسبها وقت للتسلية بس. نحسبها بس ذكريات.
عقود أعطي أختك اليد يا ولد.
ابتكرنا فيها ابتكارات، وإذا بغينا قلبناها خرافات. كنا نحسبها بس لمة وصحبة وسهرات.
انتبه نوب ترى نوب.
لكن كنا نشوف عالم ما حد يشوفه.
ليت يشغل وقته بشيء يفيده. الله عليك عليك صوت.
عالم كبر وعاش فينا. عالم الحماس فيه يوصلك كل مرة لحلم أصعب، بس ما يصعب عليك. بارد معك وين ما تروح.
Welcome back to the Esports World Cup here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm Shift, that's Study, and we find ourselves in a 1-1 map count between the Carolina Royal Ravens and Optic Gaming. A convincing
get
map
that
number
Rockstar
one,
out of
and
here.
what was a pretty good set of rounds in a row for Optic. Gets battled back as Gwyn starts to take over, and boy, will Carolina need that in map number 3.
100%, man, because he was able to do it yesterday versus the Vegas Legion. Even though it was a completely different map on Invasion, where he's able to pull out that 3rd or 4th AR, he puts up a 1.75 KD and 1.9 on the defensive end. That's usually where you find a lot of your success when you talk about slaying on a map like Invasion. He was going off. But the only difference is you're probably not going to run that 3rd or 4th AR today because you're playing Karachi versus 2 of the best SMGs in the game.
However, again, we have to take a moment to try to evaluate what this new Carolina team looks like with Beans in the picture. Control was by far their worst game mode for the regular season. I think we both remember back to some of the early moments in Control at the beginning of the year. It's just like, yo, what is happening? But yesterday was a totally different story against a Vegas squad that had been kind of trending upward in Control at the end of the year.
Yeah, and now they've sort of figured it out. Obviously, the Selene prowess from Beans adding to the lineup gives them a lot more opportunity to take certain lanes away from teams. But on a map like Karachi, we saw it at least a little bit in that 6-star opening HP. The SMGs start to get lost. You cannot afford that to be the same scenario here. You have to account for everyone, cover all your bases, and simply do the easy things right. Do not allow the SMGs to take over red control, get those easy angles of attack over towards that B point.
You know that's something that's always going to be worried about, especially on a map like Karachi, where Optic Gaming fans, of course, know that this is by far one of their best Control maps. So that's what you're looking for, to see what Shotzzy can create. So far, the opening is all over towards A, though, and Gwyn is going to get some position over towards Junk just to allow the defense to fully focus on the front.
You can already see Shotzzy in a position knowing that Gwyn loves to hit these angles, but Gwyn gets the better of him in that gunfight. 6 HP in the dream. He's able to stay alive, and now Beans finds a second. So if you are Carolina, you have the numbers to still contest this. That's already 3 dead in the feed, and now you can start to be the aggressors on the map, put them in a little bit of a trap.
Wild how one win turns it into a convincing moment for Carolina. Still, second tick being worked on. Dashy staying alive inside the point.
Second
no follow
tick.
from TJ. He's still stuck up top inside of Broken. Beans trying to get here, but yeah, Pred's watching the long-range angles, and that's enough for Optic to likely get the extra 60.
Should have an A here.
Be able to extend this game clock, and now Gwyn and Beans are going to fall over towards that red
Oh,
positioning.
one
And you
shot.
already have Pred setting up this pinch, so this is a scary moment here for Carolina on the season where they were dead last on the defensive side, and
Nice shots he
Optic
got
Gaming
him.
now have 2 minutes and all red control to just make one opportunity, one set of kills to work their way on in.
That is an incredible window for TJ to reclaim some space towards bottom red. Problem is, the rest of the Ravens cannot
Nice,
get
2
forward
down.
out of the backside areas of this diner. TJ still holding on to the desk. Beans trying to watch the cut as best as he possibly can. And now the isolation for Optic is all about getting TJ out of position. That win comes through, but the rest of Carolina have gotten over the hop wall, and now they're here for defense.
Got to be ready to iron up and get a couple kills, though. It's a 2-2 split in the gunfights, but Beans is able to find a double and slow down that pressure, making
No,
it
you
triple.
gotta
Great
get
shots
Beans,
to
bro.
find double headshots, and now that allows the
getting
rest
hot.
of your teammates to still be here to try to contest this play.
Long route from Gwyn on the way means the defense is going to be pretty limited in terms of how many numbers are actually here, so every
Oh
fight is
my-
a big
nice,
fellow
Kenny.
taken down by Kenny's long nade. TJ trying to stay alive with nades of his own over the top as Gwyn's pinch finally comes through, but it's quickly responded to by Kenny, and this should be enough for Optic to likely stop the clock a beat.
Yeah, they worked their way into the point. They already gained the info onto TJ.
Just
who's
hold
trying to set up
this.
pinch
We're up
play.
4
So if
lives,
you
5
are
lives now.
Carolina, you got to work your way over the hop up, but
6.
Shotzzy is taking that opportunity away from you. He times that flank. He's able to find a double. That's already 3 dead per segment.
Let's go,
If you
Dashy.
are Optic,
Nice.
Let's just stack the point.
That should be B.
So
That
3
should be
members are
round
on.
1.
This progress is happening rapidly, and unless Carolina find kills from this long angle, which they're
Nice,
not,
round 1,
there's
let's
no
go.
way they touch this in time. And Optic very clean and very aware of those long routes coming out of Carolina to quickly get the B zone.
That's just way too easy right there from Optic, man. They start off initially with a great push through the middle of the map, earn a couple segments at that A point, but it was the slow playing around that objective towards that B segment. When they worked their way, Kenny alongside of his teammate in Pred, they work their way back over towards Junk side. They find those 2 kills onto Gwyn and Beans, effective on the trade to get those close red spawns. You give yourself multiple opportunity after opportunity to just win one set of fights and you're in.
I think the thing about it is, for the most part, the SMGs for the Ravens have played fine, but the ARs are not locking down the lanes like you need to. Fellow just at 1 and 8. Now, granted, he's got 900 damage and 4 assists, so he's parts of these plays, but those little moments where you're not finishing kills are turning into the openings that Optic need to get onto the zone. But over towards Carolina, they immediately get onto A.
Yeah, Felony's got to turn it around and turn it around quick. When you're playing against the world champions, you got to play at your best. So Not the greatest start to this game, but you still have opportunities to right the wrongs here. They're already completing that second segment onto the third. Time is going to be extended nice and early. Now you're forcing Optic Gaming to hold down a B setup for 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
And TJ's already trying to find routes over towards the jump ball. That will be denied by Pred. And at the same rate, Dashy, with the initial assistance of Kenny, will get some junkyard control. So Carolina will be spawning really far away from this B-side, and Shotzi's cleared out the long flank. This is a lot of stress on this Carolina attack.
Because they're going to waste a lot of time. At least Gwyn is working his way back over towards Junk. Wins that one-on-one versus Dashy, and at the same time, Beans catches Shotzi slipping. So they should be able to reinforce with their numbers and these close red spawns instantly over towards the speed point. They're winning the trades fights. Got to get into point now.
Bello just watching the cross. He gets taken down, though. Good shots from Dashy. Trophy system out for Carolina, trying to win the back alley, but Shotzi at least still goes 1 for 1. Last one left alive is good, and he just gets flat out overwhelmed. Carolina still spawning all the way down towards market side of all things. I'm just as surprised as I think anyone else, and that means that Carolina has to play the OE.
Yeah, that's a gift right there for Optic Gaming, because they were expecting more gunfights to be right in front of them. But Carolina get those chicken coop spawns, and now they're forced to hit that overextension. It's already been a minute wiped off the game clock. So now they're working their way behind enemy lines, but Pred and Shotzi, they have already gotten a read on it. Great shots with that Rival 9, not going to commit with 34 HP, or are you?
Yeah.
You're going to pull out the red and still go for the chow.
Shotzi, though, gains some space and some separation, but the hunt is too strong. And you got to keep in mind that Beans, who had the long route over towards the jump ball, actually put a little bit of pressure on towards the B side itself. So that now, all of a sudden, allows Carolina to clear out front red, but Beans still spawns in Egypt.
Nice.
So he's got a long way to get here to try to help out this Ravens hit.
At least they do have a couple players around this objective. Shotzi roaming around the map. And they still are getting those bad spawns over towards Chicken Coop. Don't know why that is the case, because no one is sitting into a chunk, but TJ finding that double. Here's an opportunity
we gotta
for
kill
Carolina to stop the
TJ.
game clock.
Heroic play from TJ, because you're absolutely right. It is just spawn after spawn all the way down towards Coop. We have not seen this all year long, but it is making this offense so much more difficult for Carolina. The only benefit is that they do hold an edge in the life lead, but they need to stop this clock.
And now they got 30 seconds to go. Final push, last hurrah to try to break it on this overextension. TJ again finds the opening. There's so many players from Optic Gaming roaming
Just
around
need to get
this
one more
red
wave of
area.
kills, and we got this
Playing
the
nice
second
and slow.
round.
Pret two-time
Nice.
single. He's only able to take down one, but that's already job well done. It's a 3v3 fight now.
Nice.
This has got to be
This should be
Carolina
round
thinking,
2.
we're still spawning market. Is there someone in junk?
Yeah.
Because they're not even getting the P3 spawns. So now it's just down
Nice,
to one
round
more
2's
hit
over.
for
Let's go.
Beans. And
Come on, boys,
it's
just one more
not gonna
round.
happen. I mean, surely Pred's spot bottom red on the corner at lights doesn't block P3 spawns.
That's absolutely no way, because even when they were dropping around red, it was Carolina finding 2 pieces, and they were still spawning all the way at Coop. So even at the very end of those games right there, of that round, Felony was playing it really slow over towards Junk, thinking, okay, we're spawning Coop for a reason.
Yeah.
Someone has to be about the Junk area, but there was nobody there. So Optic Gaming basically got blessed right there.
Unreal stuff. So that, a little bit of a foil towards the Carolina hits towards B. Fellow just on 3
I didn't do
kills,
that.
so I tried to give him a little bit of credit for being 1 and 8 with at least damage and assists, but now it's becoming a bit of an issue here as Carolina's getting heavily outslayed.
Now their backs are against the wall. 2 rounds to none. They had to try to slow down the approach of Optic Gaming on their attack, but Shotzi, different angle of approach now, finds another first blood. Another attacking round, this time onto TJ, and you can see how slow Pred is playing it over towards red. He's waited for Gwyn to set up on that pitch.
And decent shots though from Beans, makes the trade into Dashy, super simple. But as you'd mentioned, Shotzi's route opens up space and actually forces Carolina to have to worry about this pitch, and Shotzi's already out of there, man. I mean, it's unreal how fast he moves around the map. Gwyn nearby, Shotzi up top, just trying to see if he can find anyone over towards Junk. Not gonna happen. And the clock will slip underneath a minute left as Optic need to find a way to get to his own.
Oh, I thought
Big trade though from
Shotzi had
TJ.
that.
Keeps red control in favor of Carolina, and now Optic Gaming are getting those close chicken coop spawns towards the backside of that P3 hard point. They have dominated that top 3 positioning, so they're going to give themselves opportunity to still put the game clock at a pause. 46 seconds to go, but second segment on the works.
And he just essentially guarding to make sure that no one can play through top red.
That's
And
2
even on
down.
top of that, his Semtex lands onto TJ.
It should be
trying
a-
to follow up, at least able to find the trade and keep red control largely in favor of Carolina, but he knows now with the A zone chalked, he needs to play a junk.
Yeah, time is going to get extended. So how do Optic Gaming decide to work their way on in? You already have Pred sitting over towards that top AC area. Shotzi going for the one-on-one gunfight through top
Hey, I'll
red.
be right
That's
back.
a perfect start, but Felony gets the better of Kenny. He just has to play his life in that junkyard position.
Can Shotzi create something for Optic to use through mid-map. No, instead they're going to go back and see if they can find the isolated kill on towards Fellow. Shotzzy, rival 9 in hand, will win the elimination. And with that, here come Optic. Kills over the middle map, also putting tons of pressure on Carolina, who are going to spawn bottom left side of the map. This is how Optic find their first entry in.
Yeah, this is due to what Pred is doing on the opposing side. Behind enemy lines, he's finding freebie kill after freebie kill. And now they are getting bombarded around that point. That's all 4 dead for Optic Gaming. The green wall are going for the double stack so far. Both the SMGs trying to find a couple kills around in the middle of the map, and they might come back to bite them because now it's a 4v2 around this point.
And he's still holding inside the zone with Dashy playing the backside alley, but as soon as the pressure starts to amount, they have to play corners to stay safe. Dashy slipping into the closet. Kenny trying to watch the cross. 2 ticks are locked. Dashy on 4 in a row. Still winning gunfights. Now from the front, Kenny able to work things out. It's just down to Beans from inside the hill, but still the 3rd tick is being captured, and Dashy will finally drop. Follow-up from Pred is on the way, trying to force the square peg, and he wins the first 1v1. Now help is here, and Pred takes a double, and that will likely do it. No one for Carolina getting back, and a 3-0 for Optic.
Yeah, that's just way too easy right there for Optic Gaming. It was a double stack between Kenny and Dashy, and somehow, someway, they were able to both find one-on-one gunfights. That allows the SMGs to put themselves in a position to get back into the play. But those close red spawns, it had to be due to this most recent patch that we are playing on. An update had to have came in. They realized, they're like, all right, when you're getting close red, it's always going to be fight after fight after fight. So something must have happened to the update on the game that's spawning them all the way across the map, slowing down that attacking approach.
It's just weird, I think, for both of us to not see any P3 area spawns when the A zone's already been captured. So, yeah, we're learning at this point. But definitely a moment where Carolina's going to look back and be like, whoa, I don't know if we expected this fully. But that's the beauty of playing on live patch. Things change from when we last saw the game at Champs. And
Sorry, I have my mic
full
off.
advantage of at least either the knowledge gained or the blessings that they found. And again, look at the heavy amount of outslaying that we're seeing across this scoreboard.
Yeah, it's heavily in
I'll
favor of
turn that
Optic
down a
Gaming,
bit.
man. Like Felony told us that he can't die. At least he showed it in the first minute of the hard point.
Yeah.
But ever since then, he has been getting slayed to bits. 6 and 18 is not gonna cut it versus the world champions. And now you find yourself down 2-1 with basically both of the respawns being blowouts. This has been the recipe for Optic Gaming versus this organization in Carolina. Always gonna get done through the respawns. Now that makes them 4-1 in control, 7-1 in hard point. An opportunity now to make it 8-1 if they close out the series here in this map 4.
And map 4 is sub-8.
Jesus.
Yeah, definitely. As I
don't know why it keeps
I think
loading
especially
and
with now the focus has to
buffering.
immediately go to Fellow. Like, you've
100%.
got to play well now going into a map where you're likely going to see at least 3 ARs from the entirety of it. Gwynn's had a solid series, Beans as well, but the presence that Optic has put together, I think, again, just cohesion-wise, spawn manipulation-wise, definitely feels like the champions that we came to know and love.
Yeah, it's insane to see when you're looking at the minimap and watching how the SMGs are so in sync, even though it might look like they are not. When Pred is attacking through the front, Shotzzy's already pitching, setting up a pinch from the back end. Multiple times are Carolina getting those close spawns to try to contest that B point early on, but they're just not expecting an SMG to instantly be right behind them and catch a free 2-piece after 2-piece. So, Optic Gaming covering all their bases, showing their strengths in control, specifically on Karachi. Dominate in the 3-0 fashion. Now they're up 2-1 in the series. Like you said, going into a sub-age HP, where on the season, they are 12-2.
Yeah, there was like a moment of hiccup, I think, for this Optic team. You know,
major force.
Yeah, that was during that season, or part of the season, where we're like, well, what is happening? I think the words that we used when we casted them back on this map was, no better time to regain this stage on the online qualifiers than to do it on a sub base, and then they got blown out on it. So maybe some lingering questions, but this feels like, again, a different team than what we saw when they were losing this map.
Yeah, they got the confidence back in them. So now Optic Gaming trying to close this out in 4 onto a sub-H HP where it is the bread and butter for them. But Carolina, with the addition of Beans, they're going to have a lot more AR presence now. But look at the route already from Shotzzy. He finds the first kill. Pred strikes for the second, and it should be Optic starting off with the early hill time.
Yeah, absolutely silly, but good follow-up from Gwyn and Team. They essentially had to take a 2v4, and they come out with 3 eliminations on it.
And the spawns flip.
And the spawns flip. I was about to say, this is somehow making something out of nothing here for Carolina, as they will jump into the hard point. Fellow with 2 on this second life, and Beans trying to watch over towards his backside gas tanks, but Optic will clear out some space, and now they got focused not just on the hill, but also on rotation.
Yeah, that's early 3 dead over towards that overextension side, trying to get over towards the generators
Nice.
at P2. Shotzzy finds a freebie through the middle of the map, and all those players dropping from Carolina are now going to spawn out. Last player alive in Beans, he also drops. So even though Optic Gaming spawned out early, onto that P1. They secure the rotation for P2, and now they're going to allow themselves to get fully set up.
And Pred even just putting a little bit of pressure on the P2 platform. Shotzzy able to watch the corner even while stunned. No worries, just holds down the trigger and finds the kills needed to alleviate the pressure from the front. Now Shotzzy back up top, almost.
That would have been nasty,
2
two-piece.
But with that, Carolina will get a trophy down on the inside of the windows and maybe a chance to break this from the side.
40 seconds still to fight for here. You don't want to give up all this time. Great gunfight win right there on the TJ to open up that angle of attack. They're finding the effective trades to work their way on in, but you still got to eliminate these players in towards the hard point because you're allowing Optic to soak up a majority this time. Only 25 seconds to fight for. This is going to be your last push because you do not want to lose those spawns for the next hill.
Yeah, and these hits just are not coordinated, at least in the way that you would need to see them actually break open the hill. A couple of kills here and there, but largely speaking, that was about as comfortable as it gets for Optic, and now all of a sudden there's some pressure through the middle of the map as they try to rotate over to P3.
And this is what Pred is going to do now. He's going to go for that overextension around this left side and try to block those back spawns, hoping that his teammates can find a couple kills. Working their way around the back end, but Gwyn and Felon, they start off in the engagements, make it 3 in the feed. So Optic Gaming are now going to have to slow down their approach. Pred switches up his angle. He's going to try to attack from the front, waiting for the teammates to come on in.
Yeah, they're just trying to clear out top snow here, but not going to happen. Gwyn now on 3 in a row. Sees the shoulder of Dashy. Decent damage also being placed. Bean's not quite able to find the kill there, but he'll spawn up right behind the hill. So really solid start here for Carolina in the first 30.
And this is flawless. Holding down this top snow positioning is everything that you want for this Money Hill at P3. They found another 3 in the feed, and now with only 30 seconds left, that's a clean 4 down for Optic. You probably do not want to attempt to try to break this ever again, because this is going to be tough. You don't want to lose those spawns for P4, because that tends to be a Money Hill for Optic Gaming.
And TJ, dead silence popped. He could hit her out here. Pred does find 2 through mid, and that's going to be enough for Dashy to know he can move back over towards the new hill, and in doing so, he does find TJ. Now a couple of late interactions on the final moments here at the 3rd hill. This just makes more comfort exist on the map for Optic heading over towards 4.
Yeah, just creating those layers, making it more difficult for Carolina to work their way on out. Allows them to have 10 to 15 seconds uncontested to start, but Optic Gaming able to take the lead right on back. Kenny covering over towards the Sky Bridge area, sitting at the catwalk, watching the cross over towards the right side of that P5 tank. Right now, Optic Gaming, they're so far spread around the map. It's not even close for Carolina to even contest this soon.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny and Shotzzy through mid here really make life difficult for the Ravens, who do eventually get the kills they need to possibly threaten the hard point. Now, Pred in trouble. Kenny still spawning up with Shotzzy in the back end. They both find kills. Now it's just down to Kadashi, help supply from the front, and the spawns flip. Shotzzy right in the way, but eventually gets seen, and with that, a very nice break here at the last 20 to fight for Carolina.
And that is why we haven't seen sub-base in the last 2 events, because you get those kind of freaky spawns towards the backside of the P3s and the P4s, and it works out massively for Carolina. They're basically going to be able to tie up the game with this remaining junk time, but Optic Gaming are going to be blessed with their rotation over towards new. And you can already see how aggressive they're getting over towards the generator.
Yeah, this is absolutely beautiful for Optic. Zoning out the entire bottom of the map. Pred will make sure there's no OE over towards the opposite side. Now it just comes down to predicting and maybe, again, manipulating where the spawns should be for Carolina, which will be over towards P3 side, but the eliminations are perfect for Carolina. Kenny being able to tally 1 at the end of the fight, but still, that's enough for Beans to very comfortably slide onto the hill.
But look, they're both spawning right next to each other around that warehouse area, and now they're spawning behind each other over towards P2. It's just an all-out mix fest, but Optic Gaming, through the chaos, are thriving in it. That's 3 dead in the feed. Last player alive is going to be Gwyn. You still have 1 player in Beans putting down a couple shots behind the back, but the rest of Optic Gaming putting all their focus on the front side of warehouse. They're trying to hold on to this final 20 seconds as Kenny finds himself on 5 in a row.
You can definitely see why no one's played this map in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Lots of side-by-side holding hand spawns for both teams. But Optic, like you mentioned, have done very well of trying to control when that chaos happens and, more importantly, coming out the victors of it. It's a slim margin, though, all things told, through the first set of hills. 118 to 96 the scores. You go back to P1, and with Optic trying to control the middle of the map, perfect time to sound in with how the green wall are coming.
Nice. Last shot down, man. Fellow spawner. He's gonna be server late. I'll try him going in, fellow server.
I'm playing for the server, me, fellow.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. I can shoot him.
1 shot on time, Gwyn. Fellow.
Every top.
Watch out time.
Top dead.
Watch out the box. This is long.
Long?
He's long, yeah, 100%.
Anytime. You can't remember me. I can't remember.
I saw the bottom. You guys hold. You hold. One is right. One is left.
Hold it. I need more time, man. One's up in camera, bros. Or he's long. He's being long. Last guy ramp. He's in camera. Inside camera. Yes.
One guy's low dark, fellow.
No. Wait.
Loading, fellow.
I can get him. I'll get him.
Loading, fellow. 1 shot.
I'll get him.
On the server box. On the server box. When we spawn out?
Yeah,
they're parallels with you.
Front P2, bro. Front P2 going. And on the.
Where'd he go? He's on you, Gwyn. On you, Gwyn, guys.
He
went side. He's on top of the railings. Running loading.
I had to right the back, bro.
Make sure we play for this guy.
Yeah, I had to right the back. We got top P2, boys. Top P2 beans. It's two.
Big kill, guys.
I mean, wait, one shot top P2. And one's on the rail exit. Top P2, one shot.
Yeah, you can push up,
There's two there. Alright, go into one.
Top snow.
Alright, go into there. Mr. Fellow.
Nice ants.
Mr. Fellow.
Maybe front P2, man.
Alright.
I'm already front P2. What's that, Salah? I think there's two side
Last two front.
I need. I'm on your stairs there, Brandon. Give me a second. They can pitch back,
That's an impressive slide through for Shotzi, creating the time and space for Optic off the close spawns to get back in, and as they do, the kills are perfect for Optic,
Nice, 3 down.
setting up their hold for the last 35.
Yeah, this is flawless, and now you have Pred being the aggressor, trying to take over this warehouse position.
Be
You
a
know
ballet
there's still a
win.
lot of time to fight for in Carolina. I'm not going to give this up for free. They did not find a successful break attempt at that pre-3 last go-around,
Got off
but
him.
now the spawns have flipped. You are not allowing Carolina to soak up any time there because you still have Kenny winning those one-on-one gunfights. Effective
got
trade
Shotzi
coming in
all
from
the way
Felony,
out here in
but
the
it's still
water.
dashing their contestant.
And Shotzi is going deep on the water route, clearing out the entirety of the back. Help is nearby, and Optic very well may go scrap to initial from 3 to 4.
Nice, 3 down.
Oh boy, this is not looking good right now for the side of Carolina. It's a 35-point lead, but Optic have put themselves in position to win the spawns, and on top of that, they're pushing Carolina super far out. Shotzi last one left, trying to force the fight with Fellow, and it will be a win for Carolina, but the Optic spawns are still good.
Yeah, that is unreal, though, from Carolina on their spawn points. One spawns right into his teammates at the warehouse, and then the other one all the way in the backside of P4. So Optic Gaming have the numbers, have the spawns, and now they're soaking up this hill time. Still a 40-point lead, but Carolina are here to contest.
Gwyn not quite able to finish off the kill on the front side of the ramps. And with that, it looks like the last 25 should be pretty likely all going to Optic. Maybe one more chance for Fellow to hit from Snowside, but you have to win this rotation towards noon. You've got to find a full 60 plus, and that's the problem. Shotzi's already beat you to the punch.
Yeah, they lose the rotation gunfight, but thankfully your teammates are all still across the map if you are Optic. And Shotzi somehow, some way gets the better of Gwyn again for the second gunfight. And now Optic Gaming spawned all of Carolina across the map. Last player alive on this side is going to be Felony, but here comes the pinch from Kenny. He's going to get the freebie. A flawless 3 hills in a row from Optic.
That's just, are we kidding? What are we talking about? Shotzi take it over, and that may be what causes Optic to clean up this map. Number 4. Carolina from the front have to win every single gunfight. You've got Kenny in a power position looking for 1 kill for the cruise missile, but not quite able to secure it. Optic still should be spawning close, but Shotzi actually and Kenny will spawn across the map. Maybe a chance for Carolina to break here.
And now you're just hoping that your teammates around that hill can hold it down, waiting for the pinch to come on in. And Kenny and Pred, they at least combined for a couple kills. Now the teammates are here. Shotzi again miraculously pops a miracle 2-piece. And now you're just simply spawning out Carolina.
Yeah, keep them spawning back there, now we can run and rotate to the other side.
You're going to have that free rotation over towards you to potentially close out the game there.
Yeah, Fellow for P2 window, Pred just underneath. Shadow's been seen, Fellow only able to find 1. Now it's down to the battle between him and Beans, and Pred says, I don't need to take this fight. My teammates are on the way over. Let me just stay alive towards the front side of this hill and make sure none of the other Ravens can find a rotation through the P2 side of the map. Hardpoint opens, 145-221. Optic able to isolate. Now it's just down to finding the final shots, and that should be enough for Optic to get in the hill.
Going to get in the hill, and now you only need 28 seconds to call series. So now if you're Carolina Royal Ravens, it has to be perfect. These routes need to be successful, and Felony unfortunately does get shut down by Shotzi. So only 15 seconds until Optic are able to take the game. Last play from Carolina.
That's 3 down. That should be game.
Moments from Optic.
That
When
should
it
be
matters
it.
most. Final 10 here as Carolina will spawn warehouse side. They need to find this break as they're going to split it through tunnel as well as on the other side through the warehouse. And no one's going to find a kill for Carolina. Optic make their way into the playoffs as Pred is letting them know something. What is he saying? What is that?
I don't know. He's throwing up the 6. Well, how many times did they match up? I know they played 4 times. This will be their 5th time on the season. But Optic Gaming take care of business the same exact way every single time they match up versus Carolina, and it's through the respawns. Utter dominance in both the hard points, even better in the control. Obviously, they're going to go back and watch that search and destroy because they made a couple mistakes that costed them towards the very end, but they basically played great Call of Duty today. Perfect COD.
Yeah, a couple of odd man number situations after first bloods where you would like to see that advantage turn into a round win. Again, but conversion percentage and plant percentage for this Optic team at Surge, when they're, vulnerable, it's been in those 2 categories. So small things to look back over, but I think you hit the nail on the head here when it comes down to the fact that their respawn continues to dominate. We're seeing it across both the hard points as well as in the control. Yeah. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, and it's good stuff as well. I guess you could say for Carolina, obviously the addition of Beans, he was able to show that he had that AR presence there, but just some inconsistencies on certain maps from some individuals tend to come back and cost them, because you were saying it the whole time. Those individual gunfights, if they go the opposing way, instead of they were going to Shotzi or to the Preds or to Kenny always finding himself on 5 in a row, Carolina potentially would have still kept himself in this series, but Optic were clutching up in those gunfights, making the right plays, dominating in the respawns, and they are the first team to qualify in.
Really clean stuff. This is a group that we looked at and said that, you know, depending on what Optic we got, it could be a group of death. But really, I think we're just looking at how Vegas and Carolina are so close to one another. We had a good Amit team as well in this group. But the expectation was that Optic would get through, and that is indeed the result that we have. Here's a look back over the series. Again, it was 3 rounds in a row on the high-rise surge for Carolina, aided by the cruise missile that was earned by Gwyn. But